Good morning, students. Welcome to Scores 27. I am the Pratibha. So, what are numbers? Numbers, you can visualize numbers as anything. You can visualize numbers as 1, 2, 3, right? Any number can be classified in this number system, right? So, numbers are classified as real numbers and imaginary numbers. Suppose you think of under root of minus 16, right? Suppose you think of under root of minus 16. Does it exist? Under root minus 16? No. Why? Because if you look at 7 into 7, it is also 49. If you look at minus 7 into minus 7, it comes as 49. 4 into 4 is 16 and minus 4 into minus 4 is also 16. Right? So, ideally it will come as 4 only. But now, since we are thinking of numbers, right, we can think any random numbers also. So, you can consider that this is an imaginary number. Root of minus 16 is an imaginary number. It exists in our imaginations. Right? So, root 1 is 1. Right? So, we can also write as root of minus 1 is I. I is always written in italics, which shows that it is an imaginary number. Right? It is an imaginary number. Right? So, root of minus 16 will be written as root of 16 into minus 1. But we have noted that minus 1 is I. So, is equal to root of 16 into I. Root of 16 into I. So, that comes to us 4I. Right? So, this is an imaginary number. Right? So, these numbers are classified into real numbers and imaginary numbers. Imaginary numbers we have done. Let's look at real numbers. Real numbers are represented by the symbol R. Right? And real numbers are divided into rational numbers and irrational numbers. Rational numbers are denoted by P by Q, right, where Q do not belong to 0. It is simply understood. You cannot get 1 mark out of 0 mark. So that is undefined. You cannot get 4 mark out of 0 mark. That is undefined, right? So it can be anything. It can be 8 by 0, 9 by 0. Right? So these are all undefined. Irrational number is represented by this symbol. They have non-terminating decimals. Right? Non-terminating decimal means there is no pattern and they continue forever. Example, root 2. The value of this is 1.41421356237095. It continues forever. Pi is also 3.141592653589793, etc., etc. It continues forever. There is no pattern. So this is called as irrational numbers. Now, rational numbers are also those numbers which have non-terminating decimals, but which are recurring. Right? But which are recurring. They can also have non-terminating decimals, but they are recurring. Example 1 by 3. It follows a pattern and it can be expressed as a ratio of 2 integers. Right? So, rational numbers, again it can be divided into, we have looked over here that number system, numbers classified as real numbers and imaginary numbers. Real numbers further classified into rational numbers, irrational numbers. Rational number Q is further classified into fractions and integers. Right? Now, if you look at a number line 0, right, there is a 0 in the between, and on the right hand side we have positive integers, on the left hand side we have negative integers. Right? 0 is considered as a neutral number. Right? It is neither positive nor negative. So when we include 0 and positive integers, it is said to be a non-negative integer. integers. And when we include 0 and negative integers, it is said to be as non-positive integers. Right? So if you have to tell only negative integers, then it will start from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you have to tell only positive integers, then it will start from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you have to tell only negative integers, then it will start from minus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But when we include 0, then 0 plus positive integers belong to a set of non-negative integers, and 0 plus negative integers belong to a set of non-positive integers. 0 as a whole is neutral. It is neither positive nor negative. So integers, they can also be classified as whole numbers and natural numbers. Natural numbers are natural, right? We don't start the counting by 0, right? We usually start by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right? So these natural numbers are positive integers. They are counting numbers starting from 1 and they can go on infinitely. Whole numbers, it starts from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They are also called as non-negative integers because it also includes 0. Right? Understood? And what are fractions? All the numbers which happen between integers, and there are many of them which happen between integers. They are called as fractions. So fraction represents a portion or a part of a whole, and they can be expressed as a ratio of two integers, a numerator and a denominator. There are infinitely many fractions between two integers. Right? So I hope you understood the explanation. Let's recapitulate. Numbers, any number which you can think of can be classified under the number system. It can be classified as real numbers and imaginary numbers. Real numbers further divided into rational numbers and irrational numbers. Right? Rational number further divided into fractions and integers. Integers can be represented by Z or I. Right? Which can be further divided into whole numbers and natural numbers. Natural numbers represented by N, and whole numbers represented by W. So I hope you understood the explanation.